What if I told you, the person who lives the most powerful life is not the one who wins everything, nor the one who loses everything, but the one who is untouched by both? Ibn Arabi says, when gain and loss stop defining you, your real life begins. So, today, let us step into that secret, O seeker of truth. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the world is a mirror, but man becomes lost when he mistakes the reflection for himself. From the moment you enter this world, people teach you to collect, to gather, to hold, to win, and to measure your worth by what you own. And then this same world frightens you with the fear of losing, as if loss has the power to erase what you truly are. But Arabi says, he who knows the real sees no gain in gaining and no loss in losing, for the real is not touched by the movement of fate. So ask your heart, what have you ever truly gained? What have you ever actually lost? Your victories, the ones you celebrated, where are they now? Your losses, the ones that burned your chest, where did they go? Everything changed, everything passed, and yet you remained. The one who witnessed both the rise and fall was never the one rising, never the one falling. You were the watcher behind the story, not the story itself. And Arabi says, when a human begins to see this separation between the eternal self and the temporary events of life, freedom dawns like sunlight in a room long sealed. But man suffers because he clings to the dust, forgetting he is made of light. When he wins, he becomes arrogant. When he loses, he breaks. Both are prisons, one of pride, one of pain. But the one who is free sees these two walls as illusions, because he knows that neither victory adds anything to him nor defeat takes anything away. For how can the ocean lose or gain when waves rise and fall on its surface? The ocean is not changed by the waves, and you are not changed by the events passing through your life. Arabi points to a stunning truth. The one who neither gains nor loses lives with the real. He lives in a field beyond desire, beyond fear, beyond the restless hunger that keeps ordinary people running after the world. Such a person does not depend on outcomes for joy. His peace is not borrowed. His identity is not rented. His heart is not shaken by the shifting winds of destiny. He walks through gain with humility, through loss with serenity, and through the world with a heart that belongs to God alone. To reach this state, the seeker must do three things: release the illusion of ownership, release the illusion of control, and release the illusion of permanence. When these three illusions drop, the soul rises. You begin to see that everything you have belongs not to you, but to the one who entrusted it to you. Everything taken from you was never yours. Everything you mourned over was only visiting your life for a moment before returning to its true owner, and then a transformation begins. You become light and touched, unbound, unafraid. You stop counting what came and what went. You stop negotiating with destiny. You stop chasing shadows. Instead, you settle into the stillness of the one who always remains. And in that stillness, life becomes clear. So listen carefully. The world will call you foolish if you say, I have gained nothing and lost nothing. But Ibn Arabi will call you awake. Because only the one who sees the emptiness of gain and the illusion of loss discovers the secret of real existence. Only he becomes truly alive. Only he walks in this world while belonging to another. And perhaps that is why the ones who neither gain nor lose are the ones who finally live, not as collectors of things, but as companions of the eternal. Most people live their entire lives inside a fragile measuring system built by the ego, a system that convinces them that their worth rises and falls with what they gain and what they lose, and so they chase achievements like thirsty travelers chasing mirages in a desert, believing that the next possession, the next title, the next relationship, the next praise will finally complete the emptiness within them. Yet the moment they reach it, the satisfaction slips away like water from the fingers, because the ego is never satisfied. It is built on hunger, and what is built on hunger can never be full. And Ibn Arabi reminds us that this entire game of gain and loss is an illusion created by the nafs to keep a person distracted from their true identity. For the soul that comes from Allah does not increase by gain nor decrease by loss. It does not rise with praise nor fall with criticism. It does not expand with wealth nor shrink with poverty. And the tragedies of life do not cut it, nor do the celebrations inflate it. Because the soul exists in a dimension where worldly measures have no value, yet the mind tricks us into believing that our worth depends on the shifting waves of life. So, we begin to cling desperately to outcomes, trying to hold what is leaving and trying to reach what is not meant for us, turning life into a battlefield of fear of losing what we love, fear of not achieving what we desire, fear of being seen as less in the eyes of people who themselves are lost in the same illusions. And Ibn Arabi says that when a person defines themselves through gain, they become prisoners of desire, and when they define themselves through loss, they become prisoners of grief, and neither desire nor grief allows a human being to meet their true self, because the real self can only be seen when the noise of wanting and the noise of mourning go silent. But the world teaches us to celebrate gains and to mourn losses, shaping our identity around temporary events. And so people say, I succeeded or I failed, as if success or failure ever touched their soul, as if the divine breath inside them was altered by the rise or fall of wealth, status, opportunities, relationships, or reputation. And Ibn Arabi calls this the blindness of the ego, for the ego insists that reality is measured externally, while the spirit knows that reality flows from the inside outward, not from the outside inward. Yet, humans forget this and exhaust their entire lives building towers of achievement that collapse with the slightest wind, and when they stand among the ruins of their efforts, they feel broken because they believed that the tower was them, not realizing that they were the open sky above it, untouched by the structure's fall. But a person only understands this when they begin to detach from the false idea that gaining something makes them more valuable or losing something makes them less whole. And when this detachment begins, a strange and beautiful silence enters the heart, a silence in which the soul remembers its origin, and in that remembrance, a person realizes that nothing in this world truly belongs to them, not wealth, not people, not opportunities, not status, not even their own body, for all of these are loans given for a short period, and how can one claim gain or loss over something that was never theirs? And when this truth sinks into the heart, the entire drama of gain and loss starts dissolving like mist under sunlight, and what remains is a vast inner spaciousness where life can move freely without being obstructed by fear, ego, or attachment. And in this spaciousness a person finally tastes what it means to be alive, for they are no longer pulled by desire nor pushed by fear. They simply witness, and this witnessing is the beginning of real awakening. Because the witness is the part of you that existed before your first gain and will exist after your final loss. The witness is the part of you that never changes, the part that carries the breath of the divine. And the one who reaches this state begins to understand why Ibn Arabi said that gain and loss are veils that cover the true face of the soul, and that only when a human stops defining themselves through these fluctuations can they discover the depth, stability, and serenity of their real existence, a state in which the heart expands beyond the limits of worldly identity, and the human finally begins to live not as a seeker of outcomes, but as a seeker of truth. And in this seeking, the illusions of increase and decrease disappear, revealing a life where the soul stands in its original wholeness, untouched by the ups and downs of destiny. And this is the life in which a person finally sees who they truly are beneath the shifting stories of the world and beyond the illusions of gain and loss that once ruled their existence and now no longer have power over them, because they have awakened to the reality that the soul cannot gain what it already possesses nor lose what it never owned. And in that realization, the illusion collapses and the truth of inner freedom begins to rise without undue, not the events that happen to you, nor the success that lifts you, nor the suffering that wounds you, for all these are movements passing across the surface of your existence like waves dancing and crashing upon an ocean that remains unmoved in its depth. And Ibn Arabi reminds us that behind every experience there is a witness, a silent observer who does not age, does not fracture, does not rise or fall with circumstances, and this witness is the real you, the one that existed before the story you call my life even began. But the human being becomes so entangled in the story that they forget the storyteller within, believing that they are the roles they play: the achiever, the failure, the parent, the seeker, the sinner, the wounded, the healed. Yet all of these roles are temporary garments worn by the soul as it travels through the corridors of time. And the tragedy is not that the roles change, but that the human begins to believe the garment is their skin, forgetting the luminous essence beneath it.